An anti-war book might as well write an anti-glacier book.
Welcome to Ruby Reviews Books. Reviews from a cat who cannot read. From a cat who cannot read. Ruby Reviews Books, where Ruby, a cat who cannot read.
Welcome to Ruby Reviews Books. Reviews from a cat who cannot read. She may not understand the words, but she sure likes books. Today's book is All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque. Almost 100 years ago, one of the greatest catastrophes ever conceived by the empires of men was brought to its bloody close. World War I is overshadowed history, and when it's discovered, it's usually described in a chronicle of generals and kings, battlefronts, and technological advances. This book is not that. Sure, there are tanks and flamethrowers, Blue Cross and Phosgene, Hindenburg and the Kaiser make appearances. But Remarque isn't writing about them. Rather, All Quiet on the Western Front is a novel in the trenches about the common man's war. How he lives, how he fights, and how he dies. Here, the battles have no names. The fronts are anonymous dugouts and blasted craters. The most heroic events are the capture of geese from an officer's billet or frying potato cakes in a barrage of English shells. Men fight for soft jobs and better rations. Orders are something inflicted upon soldiers rather than expressions of tactical brilliance. In fact, most officers are depicted as pompous dullards, preening tyrants who demand discipline over success. Patriots are old men, well behind the front, smoking cigars and buying beers for soldiers on leave while they hector them about strategy and morale. But despite the odd Himmelstas, the book is strangely absent of antagonists. That doesn't mean the story is without its villains. Luigi Cadorna, Conrad von Hotzendorf, Enver Pasha, Douglas Haig, Erich Ludendorff, Joffrey, Nivelle, Mangin. The villains are there. It's just that All Quiet on the Western Front isn't concerned with a heroic narrative, though Cat and Bertink come closest to that appellation. If anyone could sum up this book, it's Niko Bellic. War is where the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other. That's the moral heart of the book, something that Remarque tries to describe in scenes of poplar-lined rivers, furtive hospital ward sex, the casual but thorough description of mortar-strewn bodies along a collapsing front. It would be easy to reduce All Quiet on the Western Front to the common-sense refrain of William Tecumseh Sherman, war is hell. But that mere articulation is perhaps the most powerful point Remarque has to make. Of the young men who fight, whether as patriotic volunteers or conscripts, they are all victims of disaster. Whether they can pin it on a sermon from a Cantorek or the burden that state inflicts on a nation, war is not something they chose. Rather, it's something that happened to them, like weather or an earthquake. They must fight it, even though they are losing, and losing badly, even though peace is on everyone's mind, but no one will make it. They must die for it, despite being hungry, wounded, and ill-equipped. They become the generation that is to be misunderstood, both by the fathers before them and the generations that come to after. They are the young men sacrificed at this altar of nationalistic ideals and borders that are not their own. Whether this is truly the greatest war novel ever written, I defer on making definitive judgment, whatever the cover art claims. But I will say the style is fluid, present tense first person that balances its emotional heights with matter-of-fact tragedy. It's a relatively unadorned story, its agenda is clear, its characters are familiar, and the story is compelling. A century later, the truth of All Quiet on the Western Front still rings true. In the Somme, Verdun, Isonzo, Galicia, Gallipoli, Passchendaele, and the Argonne Woods, the dead could be measured in numbers. But the loss was ineffable. It's something that left a hole that can never be filled. I give it 4 stars out of 5. Let's see what Ruby thinks. 1, 2, 3. Well, there you have it. All Quiet on the Western Front. Rated 4 stars, 3 rubs, and a lick of the chops. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you have any idea on what we should read next, please leave a comment. I'd also like to recommend The Great War Channel. It's an awesome history series that really helped put this novel into context for me. It is a long, sad tragedy, but well worth the watch. So check them out.